This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. We got developments today in Fulton County, Georgia, in the Georgia criminal case against Donald Trump and 18 others, and we're bringing them to you here on this hot take. One-page order following Fani Willis's request that Judge McAfee, the state court judge, give direction and instruction to each of the defendants, especially those that are seeking speedy trial, like the two former or current Trump lawyers, Sidney Powell and Ken Chesbro. Fani Willis's office wanted the judge to tell those two, at least, that there were repercussions to asking for speedy trial, so they couldn't argue later on an appeal. We didn't know that if we went to trial in 6 weeks, which is speedy trial in Georgia, I mean, that's a velocity that I am not familiar with in 32 years of practice, but let's put a pin in that for a minute. Fani Willis wanted them properly informed to avoid any future appeal, that they could argue, well, we didn't know by going to trial in October, it screwed up certain deadlines related to any future appeal that we might take if we don't like the outcome. So Fani Willis, who wants to run this process with great efficiency and with a big velvet hammer, went to Judge McAfee and filed her motion. Judge McAfee came back and said, well, hold on there. First of all, I'm running the court, not you. And that's okay. That's what judges often say to other people before them. But he said it in a nice way. He said, I'm going to deny your motion. I don't need to give the instruction as of right now to at least the two co-defendants with Donald Trump who asked for speedy trial because, and to remind everybody, and this is the real meat of this particular hot take, barbecue, Labor Day. Where's this going, Popok? Bring it back. Here we go. The real meat of this hot take is, what all legal analysts who are trying to talk succinctly and talk thoughtfully about things in Georgia should start where I tell my associates to start, with the rules. Go look at the owner's manual for the court, for the judge that you're in front of, and there you're going to find a lot. And what I found out is that this judge, although he's only been on the bench since February, he updated his standing order on all criminal cases. So now he has an amended standing case management order in criminal cases just entered by him when? August the 24th, after he got assigned all of these 19 co-defendants along with Donald Trump. He had an original standing order that controlled all matters in his courtroom, all deadlines, all procedures. This is where lawyers like me and others go, right? It's our Bible. How do we communicate with the court? It answers that question. Who do we communicate with at his chambers? There's a litigation manager. Just learned that person's name. Not going to give it here, but there's a litigation manager. All communication through the judge needs to go through his or her litigation manager, in this case, Judge McAfee's. I also learned that what we've been observing over the last few days, which is co-defendants, Donald Trump and others, pleading not guilty and filing a waiver of appearing live at their arraignment, is right in the judge's order. We would have known it had people really gone and looked at it, because it says right up front that you can waive arraignment, right, and don't have to appear if you file a certain piece of paper, which is exactly what we're seeing now. So what are we seeing? We're seeing a young judge, 34 years old, only been on the bench, never been a judge anywhere else since February, but anticipating the tidal wave that is coming his way, the tsunami, a legal tsunami coming at Judge McAfee's chambers and with his courtroom personnel, and him wanting to run a tight ship. He issued his amended case management order. Here's what else I learned. After the others who don't file this waiver of personal appearance for arraignment, which is completely different than federal court, which we've been describing a lot on Legal AF and the MeidasTouch network. Federal court goes at a different pace, different deadlines, different combinations of things go together. Arraignment goes with the guilty or not guilty plea all in one big package as soon as they surrender. Here it's done in pieces, parts, over days, with a lot of what I call silent filings. You just have to file, the judge issues the rulings, and you don't have a court appearance. You don't have a hearing. We talk a lot in federal practice and all the federal Trump cases about hearing. There was a hearing today. There was another hearing today. There'll be a hearing next week. No hearing so far in Georgia. It's not that you missed it. Some people might be thinking, well, maybe I missed some of these hearings. I don't see every one of Popok's hot takes. You didn't miss any because there haven't been any. And I know why, having now read Judge McAfee's amended case management order related to criminal cases. The other thing I learned is that there will be a specific case management order for the Fani Willis criminal RICO case against Donald Trump and the other 18. And when will it be issued by the judge? Because everything else is the standing order, which applies to all cases. That will come after everyone is done being arraigned, either because they filed a waiver of live or personal arraignment, or they show up on the 6th of September as the judge originally scheduled at one of these 15-minute blocks that the judge blocked out, and they're arraigned in person. And when that is done, which we expect to be next week, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, then we'll be reporting on a new customized, bespoke order about this case with Fani Willis and all these 19 people. For right now, we rely on, in any kind of default or conflict, you go back to the standing order, which I'm spending a lot of time now exploding and packaging for you and explaining it to you here. The other thing I learned about, everybody was all excited about the live stream. He's going to do a live stream. You know what his case management order says? He always does a live stream. Okay. He's not just doing it specific for Donald Trump, although he knew he had the Trump case when he issued his standing order, his uniform order that applies to everybody. And in the live streaming section, it says that to facilitate open and public access to judicial proceedings, the court, meaning Judge McAfee's court, will live stream on its own channel, I believe. And then the recording of that live stream will be posted on the court's YouTube channel. So it's not, there was a little bit of misconception there in the reporting so far. I don't think the live stream will be on YouTube, although it might. I think, at least in normal circumstances, there will be a live feed that we will be able at the MeidasTouch Network to get our hands on in real time and be able to comment on it when it happens for the proceedings. Then when it's fully baked and recorded, it'll go on YouTube. That's how I think this is going to happen. And the judge says in a standing order, if you got a problem with that, because this is my natural instinct, this is my presumption, come to me and talk to me beforehand at a hearing, and we'll, if you have a reason for it. And then the judge is very particular, and this is why we saw certain language, like when Rudy Giuliani filed today his waiver and said he needed 30 days after discovery's closed to file his motions, and he's not guilty. And he said, and he used language that at first blush looked a little kind of strange. But then I realized it's just the local language that and vocabulary that the Judge McAfee uses. And it's this concept of a particularized motion, which is exactly what it sounds like, because the judge distinguishes that from you should file a particularized motion that is based on the facts of your case on a single issue, and don't file with me a generalized or omnibus motion that you just ripped off the shelf like a template and you filed in my chambers, because I'm going to reject it outright. You got to file particularized motions, which is why the defendants are talking about particularized motions in the things that they're about to file. See how much I picked up from a 2-page case management order? I picked up a whole lot. I'm not practicing in Georgia, but I picked up a lot, and I'm able to translate it for you on a hot take just like this one. So what did we learn so far in a recap of Legal AF? We learned that there's a litigation manager, and you have to use the litigation manager for the judge to communicate with them, and all communications back and forth between parties and the judge are through his litigation manager. I found out that almost everything is done in live stream in Scott McAfee's courtroom, and then he posts the recording of that on YouTube for all to see. If you're going to file a motion in his chambers, you better do it with a particularized motion, not a general omnibus one, because it'll be rejected. He allows, in lieu of showing up for arraignment, he allows you to do a waiver form, which is what we've seen now with Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani. And eventually he will issue a customized order about the case itself as soon as all the arraignments are done. And this we believe will happen early next week. So we'll have another hot take. We'll talk about it on the leading political and legal podcast that's also on the MeidasTouch network called Legal AF. Yes, it's named for what you think. And I co-anchor that on Wednesdays and Saturdays with my fellow co-anchors, Karen Friedman-Agnifilo and Ben Meiselas. And so this is what we do on hot takes like this one. If you like it, we have sort of a rating system. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. It helps. You can follow me on all things social media, including now on Threads. I'm at MS Popok. Until my next hot take, this is Michael Popok, Legal AF.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.